Hey, it's the King of Connecticut here. And I recently had the pleasure of doing an extended sit down interview at my law firm, Berman Law Group, in Boca Raton, Florida, at our studio with UFC Hall of Famer Dan the Beast Severn, who's been a very close buddy of mine for a number of years. And in that interview, Dan and I talked about uh, pro wrestling, and we talked about Florida. We talked about how tough it used to be to get into professional wrestling. We talked about Hulk Hogan, who was kept in the dark. His leg was broken by Hiro Matsuda. He wasn't smartened up. His first match against Brian Blair was a shoot. Hogan writes about that in his book, and we talked to our good friend Brian Blair about that as well. We talked about Kevin Sullivan talking to me about how he had to shoot with Mike Graham, who's Eddie Graham's son, and Bob Roop and Jack Briscoe and all the tough shooters, how folks were driven out if they try to come into the business. And they weren't tough. They were stretched like rubber bands. The business was protected, and consequently, it was respected. And fast forward to a few months ago, and you see Seth Rollins get attacked by a short little 5'5" pudgy 180-pound fat boy running out and tackling him, and then Seth Rollins subsequently going on TMZ talking about how he was so scared, he was so frightened. Disgusting. And then they continue to push Seth Rollins. In the old days, Seth Rollins would have surely been fired. Now, a few days ago, comedian Dave Chappelle was on stage, and a fan ran up on him and tried to tackle him. The guy couldn't even get Chappelle down. Chappelle blocked him. He bounced off of him. Chappelle went down to like a knee and then sprawled out, and the guy ran away. And Chappelle made fun of him on stage afterwards. Went to the side of the stage and gave the guy a beating. Went in the back and gave the guy a beating. The guy was getting in the ambulance. His arm was just dangling. He was all bloodied up. That's how it should be, because anyone tries to jump someone on stage. I've been a stand-up comedian for years. I'd love for somebody to try to run up on stage, because then you have carte blanche to defend yourself and give that guy a beating. That's the way it should be in professional wrestling. That's the way it was in professional wrestling. Professional wrestling has lost its mystique. I came into the business of professional wrestling with my longtime mentor and coach, one of my best friends, the late Billy Wicks, who was a collegiate wrestler that came out of the Carnies, and super tough guy. And you had to be tough to be in the business of professional wrestling. Now, not so much anymore. It's embarrassing. It needs to change. Well, professional wrestling, as Kevin Sullivan told me when we were together at a show in Daytona a couple weeks ago, Kevin Sullivan told me that professional wrestling is likely going to go the way of roller derby, and it's going to just become extinct. It's sad. It's sad.